Hi everyone, today let's do the poem Wind by Subramanya Bharti. The wind, as we know, has got many facets. If it is nice, soft and breezy, then it gives us a cool and refreshing feeling. But on the other hand, if it is strong, fierce, violent, then it can destroy life and property. This poem, Wind, is written by Subramanya Bharti, originally in Tamil, but it has been translated by A.K. Ramanujan. So in today's session, we are going to read and understand this poem along with the word meanings, after which I'll summarize the entire poem, followed by the poetic devices used here and the rhyme scheme, and at the end, we will see the question answers related to it. But before we start with the session, as usual, let's know brief information about both these poets, Subramanya Bharti and A.K. Ramanujan. Subramanya Bharti was born on 11 December 1882 in Attayapuram during British India. He was a Tamil writer, poet, journalist, Indian independence activist, social reformer and polyglot. He was popularly known as Mahakavi Bharti and considered a pioneer of modern Tamil poetry. The songs and poems composed by him are often used in Tamil cinema. He died on 12 September 1921 in Madras. A.K. Ramanujan was born on 16th March 1929 in Mysuru. He was an Indian poet and scholar of Indian literature who wrote in both English and Kannada. He was awarded Padma Shri in 1976 and the Sahitya Akademi Award posthumously in 1999 for the collected poems. He died on 13 July 1993 in Chicago, US at the age of 64. This poem, Wind, which was written by Subramanya Bharti in Tamil, has been translated in English and presented to you by A.K. Ramanujan. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages off the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So, come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. The word shutters means screen that are fitted on the windows or blinds that are fitted on the windows. Scatter means spread here and there. Now in these lines, the poet is talking to wind and he is telling the wind to come softly. He is telling the wind not to break the screens of the windows, because when the wind is very strong and loud, it can destroy a lot of things. So he is telling the wind not to break the screen of the windows and not to spread all the papers here and there. He is also telling the wind not to throw down the books which are kept on the shelf. So, in other words, here the poet is describing the power of the wind and he is telling the wind not to do anything violent or destructive. In this part of the poem, the poet is referring to wind as a young child. He is saying that it should come softly, just like a small child does. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages off the books. You brought rain again. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Poking fun means making fun of. The word weaklings means weak things. Now, here the poet is speaking to the wind again, and he tells the wind that it has thrown all the books that were kept on the shelf. The wind has torn the pages of the books. It has also brought some rain again. And the poet here tells the wind that it is very clever because it makes fun of weak things. Whenever there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak, like small plants or tiny children, etc., they all get scared and they can even fall and get hurt. So, in this part of the poem, we come to know that the wind is destructive, just like youth, because it is full of energy and it often indulges in violent behavior and shows everyone that it is very strong and fierce. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. The word frail means weak. Crumbling means breaking apart into small pieces. Rafters are the beams, the sloping beams supporting a roof. And winnow means separate grain from husk by blowing on it. Here, the word crumbling is repeated so many times to lay stress that everything crumbles in the face of a strong wind. So, the poet is trying to say that when wind is very powerful, it is very strong, it leads to breakage of everything. Houses which are weak fall, doors which are weak also fall, the beams on which the roof of the buildings are supported, they also fall. All the wooden structures fall, all bodies of people fall, animals, lives, hearts, etc. Everything that is weak will fall. So he is saying that everything crumbles when they are weak. Everything that is weak reacts by falling down and breaking whenever there is a challenge. So the poet is saying that whenever a weak person faces any challenge in life, he breaks down and falls. In the last line, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. The poet is addressing to wind as wind god, and he is saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he separates all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and get crushed, while those who are strong stand up and face the challenges. So here there is a comparison which is made between wheat and people. Just like we winnow the wheat to separate the grain from chaff, the wind god also separates the strong people from the weak people. When there is strong wind, all the things that are weak, they fall down and they get crushed. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to form the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The word steadfast means strong. Here the poet says that whatever we tell to the wind, if we request the wind to be a little subtle and soft and not create havoc in life, the wind will not listen to us. So, what do? The poet suggests us that we should build strong homes. We should close the doors firmly so that the wind doesn't get inside the house. We should keep our body strong and make our heart strong as well. That is, we must take care of our body and our hearts to face any kind of challenge. And if we do this, the wind will be friends with us. So, in other words, the poet wants us to make friends with the wind. Now, here, wind is a challenge that we face in our life. And he says that the problems will never listen to us. But if we become strong enough, all the challenges will be like friends and we will not feel that they are troublesome. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. The word flourish means grow. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. The poet tells us that the wind is such a thing that if there is a weak fire, if there is a small flame, the wind will blow it out. It will put it out. But on the other hand, if there is a strong fire, then that strong fire can become stronger. It can roar and it can grow. So, the poet here suggests us that it is good to be friends with the wind. In other words, it is good to be friends with the challenges, to accept the challenges and face them in our life. And since the poet has made wind as wind god, we should praise that god every day. That is, we should be humble to those challenges and face them and accept them in our life. Only when we become strong, we can emerge as a winner. Now let's have a look at the poetic devices used in this poem. Anaphora. Anaphora is used when a word is repeated at the start of two or more consecutive lines. The lines 2nd, 3rd and 4th of poem begin with don't, and the lines 6th, 7th and 8th of the poem begin with you. So in these lines we can say that anaphora is used. The next poetic device used here is personification. Wind has been personified in this entire poem. When the poet says you are, he is referring to wind as you. That means he is treating wind as a person. The next poetic device used here is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound in close connection. Examples of alliteration in this poem are wind god winnows, here w sound is repeated. Wind will, here also w sound is repeated. Another poetic device that is used here is repetition. Repetition is the repetition of words in a particular line or in a particular stanza. In these lines, the word crumbling is repeated many times to lay emphasis. The poet wants to say that the wind crushes everything that is weak. That is why he repeats the word crumbling. The next poetic device used here is symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. Now here in this poem, the poet has used the wind as a symbol, which refers to the challenges in life. He is using wind as a symbol for the adversities or challenges or problems that we face in our life. Talking about the rhyme scheme of this poem, it's a free verse, which means there is no particular rhyme scheme used in this poem by the poet. Now in this poem, the wind has been personified. It has been treated as a person. In the first 4 lines of the poem, the poet treats wind as a small child, and it instructs the wind not to be violent, not to shatter the screens of the windows, not to scatter the papers everywhere, not to throw the books from the shelf. Whatever the poet has instructed the wind to do, it hadn't followed. The wind still threw the books off the shelf. It tore the pages. It brought rain again. It likes to make fun of things or people which are weak. The wind here in these 4 lines has been portrayed as a youth, a young person who is very irritable, who is very stubborn, who doesn't like to hear what it has been told, and who is very violent. The next few lines suggest that the wind doesn't pay attention to the advice given by the poet. So it crumbles the houses, it crumbles the lives, it crumbles the doors, it crumbles everything that is weak. And that is why the poet says that the wind god winnows. Now, winnowing is a process where the grain is separated from its chaff with the help of wind. So similarly, if wind is taken as challenges, or it's a symbol of challenges that we face in life, and when a person faces these challenges, if he is weak, he will be depressed. He will not fight back. But on the other hand, if the person is strong, he will face any challenge that is in front of him and come out as a winner. But knowing that the wind is very stubborn, the poet tells us that the wind will not listen to us, or the problems that we face in life will not ask us and come. So what do we have to do? We have to be strong, physically and mentally, so as to face every challenge in life with a smiling face. So we need to be friends with the wind. Similarly, we need to be friends with the challenges. And there's a great phenomena that if there is a candle flame, it can be easily blown out by the wind because it's a very weak fire. But if there's a strong fire, the moment the wind blows, the fire will grow more and more. It will grow stronger than before and destroy everything in its fierce and violent state. So, at the end, the poet tells us that let's be friends with the challenges that we face. Let's be friends with the wind that we face. Then probably we might be able to face the destruction that it creates. So by now the moral of the poem is very clear. We must face all the problems that come in our life with a determined mind. We should be strong physically as well as mentally, because the weak cannot survive in any case. That's all in this session, and now I'll be flashing the question answers in front of you related to this poem. Please have a look at them, and I'll see you again in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.